Hi, welcome to the NCBOLD presentation, How to Be the Most Popular Teacher at Your School, by me, Kristy Sartain. The bit.ly is on all of the slides in this slide deck, but it's bit.ly/NCBOLD all uppercase and then eSports all lowercase. Welcome to the session. So this is a quick look at the agenda. I am not going to read the whole thing to you, but we are going to cover all of this stuff. So hope you're ready. This will be a fun ride. So who am I and why am I up here? Again, I'm Kristy Sartain. I've been an eSports coach for 3 years. I have started 2 different programs in 2 different districts, both from scratch. One of them had resources, one of them did not have resources. So I am able to talk about all of the struggles and the pros and cons of both of those. I did have a group of students who finished second in the country in one of the, what I call side quests. It was a winter challenge. So I have had a little bit of success doing this. I'm also the High School Esports League North Carolina ambassador. The High School Esports League is a national esports league for high school, as it says in the name, and I have been involved with them for the last 3 years, and they asked me to do that this past year. So I have been doing a little bit of speaking and a lot of esports information giving, kind of like this is for different districts around the state. I'm also a high school librarian. I just finished my 10th year as a librarian, 3 at the middle school and 7 at the high school level. I am a Cumberland County Schools digital coach, and I am that squeaky wheel. Sometimes it serves me pretty well. I'm also a firm believer of the answer is always no until you ask the question. So a lot of this is going to reflect that. So this is what my library looks like almost every day during summer school after football practice, because one of the kids came in a lot during the school year, started telling other kids about it. So I've got coaches' kids, I've got football players, a little bit of everybody, and they absolutely love it. Esports is definitely a community building event. So this is a quick bit.ly or Jamboard of what do you know right now about esports. I'm assuming that most people know a little bit about what it is. So this is for people who don't know very much at all, or who don't know anything, or who just want to learn a whole lot more about it. So what is esports? Esports is video gaming in a nutshell. That is pretty much it. Competitive video gaming. Yeah, that's what it is. So any guesses for the first collegiate esports tournament? Or the year that it happened? Because I did not know this. It was in 1972, and the game was Space War. The first place prize was a 12-month subscription to Rolling Stone magazine, and I ask that you keep that in mind as I go through the next couple of slides. Again, I'm not going to read this to you, but I want you to see how far esports has come since 1972. Most of us probably had an Atari or a Super Nintendo, something like that growing up, and it has gone so much beyond that today. It is a little bit crazy. The first televised esports event was Halo 2 back in 2006. Now, I'm a little shocked that esports is that old and has been around that long, but it has come a long way in a very little bit of time. So in 2019, what was the first place prize in the biggest tournament of the year? $15.6 million. So we have gone from a 12-month subscription to Rolling Stone magazine to a $15.6 million payout for the Dota 2 game. So professional esports is a thing, and it is a very big thing. And I have some links here that I highly recommend you clicking on, especially the bottom one, because it's pretty funny to watch. If you want to be a pro gamer, read this article, and it talks about putting yourself out there, winning tournaments. Like, yeah, that's easy, because there's just a few people in the world that play games. Okay. But some of the team names in the eGamers World link are really funny, and I highly recommend that you check these out. So how much did the top earning player earn I think it was 2022? The top player. $7.1 million is a guy from Denmark, and that is his username. He won almost $2 million in one video game. That's crazy to me. But we need to tap into that, and we need to help our students get there professionally, and high school esports is the way to do that. So in college esports, as you can see, I'm working down. College esports in 2016 is when it really started taking off. 2016 was the first collegiate esports summit, and there were exactly 7 colleges that had esports programs at that time. Fast forward to 2022, 170 plus collegiate esports programs are now in existence. And I linked these 2 organizations. NCBOLD is the college student, kind of like the NCAA oversight of esports, but because esports is in colleges regardless of level, this organization came to fruition because of that. Now, 2 years ago, there were over $16 million in esports scholarships given from colleges to high school students just in esports. I believe the average was $8,000. Now, these are the top recruited video games in college, and that's going to change each year. This is what it has been for the last couple of years. So the top ones usually stay the same, and then the lower ones kind of shake out a little bit. So a lot of these are mature games, so they're not necessarily appropriate for our high school students to play at school. We know they play them on their own, but esports is now trickling down into middle school, so we have to be really careful about those ratings as we're choosing what games to play in these. Now, in North Carolina, the colleges on the left have an official esports program. So Barton, Carolina University, Chowan, Lenoir-Rhyne, State, St. Andrews, Chapel Hill, Wilmington, and William Peace. On the right-hand side, those have a club team. So they have an organization, but it's not necessarily considered a sport at that college. And I will say almost every single community college in North Carolina has an esports program. Highly recommend looking into that to partner with your local college to see if you can get something started up with your esports program. Now, when you get into the high school esports, now we start getting into the big stuff for that, and that's kind of where I can help you come in. So there are 3 national leagues that are the biggest ones: the High School Esports League, Play VS, and NASEF. There also is a North Carolina league that just started this year, the UNCG Scholastic Esports Alliance. They started in January, I believe, of this year, so we only did a spring sport, but they are looking to build and to grow next year and continue to do that. You've got to start somewhere. So that was fun to be part of that inaugural competition. You can also create your own league. Highly recommend League OS. That is what the Scholastic Esports Alliance used. Battlefy is an option, but it's a little clunky. But the League OS, once you get through the learning part of it, you'll be good to go. Now, these are the games that have been played in HSEL, in NASEF, in Play VS. It's just a mix of that because they change each semester. I know HSEL used to have NBA 2K and Madden, but then they got rid of it. They actually got rid of Fortnite the second semester, so we only played Fortnite through HSEL the first semester. However, Fortnite and Rocket League are the top 2 esports video games across everything in middle school, in high school, and also in college. When you get to the professional leagues, it goes a little bit more into the advanced ones, but Fortnite and Rocket League, highly recruited and highly competitive and highly accessible. So that's a key thing. Kids can play at school and they can play at home as well. So I linked this dissertation at the top of this page. Wow, that's got a lot of information in it. It is a deep analysis of high school esports in the United States, the history of it, what's going on now, issues, good things that are going on, and then a look into the future of where it might or could go for that. Definitely recommend it. The history, and I took it from this, is esports was student run in the late 2000s, and now it's managed by organizations across the nation. Of course, they've found a way to make money out of it, so somebody's going to jump in and do that. It is a sanctioned sport in numerous states, which gives it legitimacy and the benefits of interscholastic play and the benefits of being an athletic program at the school district and state level. So there's a lot of benefits to being an actual sport that gets a budget. In North Carolina, they just started pushing it in 2022 as part of the Spark Lab Unreal Engine partnership. That has been a very hard push. So it is spreading out very quickly. And in our district, we just got a Spark Lab program. So we are going to be diving even more into that. So what are the benefits of high school esports? Wow, there's a ton. And there are a ton of articles, especially if you go to NASEF. They have a whole library of information about esports and the benefits at the high school level. I put some of these soft skills that I have seen personally as an esports coach for the last 3 years. The number one thing is collaboration. These kids want to make sure that everybody on the team is successful, so they work together to make that happen. And I put teamwork as a separate thing because I think those are a little bit separate for that. So the teamwork is working together within the game, calling each other out in a good way, letting them know the game plan, stuff like that. But the collaboration piece, they really do work together on more than just the game. They work on specific skills. They work on getting kids the right access at home to make sure they have the equipment. I actually had an esports athlete who heard that one of his teammates didn't have a gaming headset, so he brought him one. He had an extra one, brought it to school, asked me to get it to him so that they could communicate on the computer. It was just, my heart melted. The troubleshooting piece, they have to learn how to fix stuff because when they play at home, I'm not there to troubleshoot for them. So they get really good really quick at trying to figure out why they can't get into a game, what's wrong with the internet, what's wrong with the computer. It's really a huge benefit of that. When we're at school, our internet cut out like 3 times. They immediately picked up, drove home as fast as they could so they could keep playing, so they could pick up the second game for that. I mean, there was almost no discussion about it. They're like, internet's out, we don't know when it's coming back, we want to play. So they rushed home to be able to do that. The time management is something that, I'm not going to lie, we all need to work on, but high school students especially need to work on. When you're coaching a team, time management is such a huge thing that you have to make sure these students deal with because they have to get their paperwork in on time. They have to be able to connect their Epic Games accounts or whatever game that they're playing. They have to be able to upload their profile if they're going to a competition. They have to do everything by a deadline. And they learned pretty quick that my deadlines were not made up, that they were definitely deadlines. So the first semester, we had 150 students sign up for our esports team. By the end of the first semester, we were down to about 60 kids. And then by the middle of the second semester, we were down to about 15. Because they have to do the things. They have to do what they need to do when they need to do it, or they can't be part of this. And a lot of it is they think they're the best athlete ever, esports athlete, and then they get in games and find out they're not. But some of it is just not being able to open their email, read their email, and do what is in the email in a timely manner. They also have to be organized. Again, reading their email. I tell them, and I joke about it, I said, if you don't read any of your emails that you get through school, you have got to read mine because they are going to come with a deadline, with information I need to know, or information that you absolutely need to know. So they do learn a little bit of organizational skills for that, and then they need to know when to show up. Oh, back to the time management. They have to work with their team to pick a practice time at home and a competition time at home, because HSEL is in the evenings Monday through Friday, so they don't compete at school. They have to arrange with their teammates to be able to get that done then. They also have to learn patience. The UNCG League was done after school on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and almost every single time, we were supposed to start right at 5 o'clock. Almost every time we had to delay it for something happened. This thing happened. Let's delay it. So they really do have to learn patience for that because it is beyond their control. mostly. And it's not something that they really have a lot of experience in. So it's a really good skill for them to learn. And they absolutely learn good sportsmanship. I was impressed every day by how well they did. The trash talk was so wholesome. I was just very proud of that. And part of it's because they're in the library. They're trying to keep it clean. The other part is there is pretty much a zero tolerance policy for almost all of these leagues with trash talking. If you talk trash in a derogatory manner, then your team is disqualified. They have people who listen in, who watch in. The other team will report the team that does the derogatory trash talking. So they keep it as clean as they possibly can. So it forces them to be a good sportsman, which is great. But like when we went to the UNCG League, at the end of each competition, you were playing for Rocket League. You were playing the team across from you. Like literally, if you stood up, you could see them over the computers. So at the end of each match, everybody stood up and shook hands across the computers, which I thought was a really nice thing to do. So they're definitely pushing the good sportsmanship in that. On the academic side, you will see increased engagement in school. You will see better attendance, higher grades, and lower discipline incidents. So if you treat esports as a team, as an athletic team, you have to abide by the athletic guidelines. So I tell my students they have to have at least a 2.0 GPA the semester before, or a cumulative 2.0 GPA. They have to have the attendance that athletes have to maintain. So at the high school level, they can miss no more than 56 periods a semester. That's it. So they have to really work on that. Their grades tend to get higher because of the engagement and the better attendance, and also the lower discipline incidents. As an athlete, you're not allowed to be long-term suspended. So any suspension longer than 5 days results in you being kicked off the team. If you have multiple suspensions, fewer than 5 days, then we're going to have a conversation, and at some point, you might be kicked off the team for that. I'll also get teacher input for that. And as for the increased engagement, I love telling the story. At our school, we celebrate the top 3 graduates because we have 3 tenets that we do as a school. So we do 3 graduates every year. And the 3rd graduate, who is just under the salutatorian, the only thing he did his entire high school career was eSports his senior year, because we had one. We didn't have one before I got there. This was my first year at this school. So this kid had the 3rd highest GPA in the whole school, and the only thing he ever did was esports. And I love that we provided that for them. I had a kid who graduated also that was fantastic at art. He was a C student. He kind of just slid through high school, but he loved esports. So this year, he was able to do everything. He was one of my captains. He helped organize everything. He even came in over the summer to help me organize a Rocket League competition for our summer school students. I mean, he is dedicated. He walked in, and one of our teachers, who's been there for years, said, "Who is that kid?" And I said who it was, and she said, "Did he go here?" I said, "Yeah, he just graduated. He was here all 4 years." She said, "I've never seen that kid in my life." And I said, "Oh." She said, "He must not be a bad kid or a high achieving kid." I said, "No, he is not. He is right there in the middle, but man, he is dedicated to esports, and he absolutely loves it. And she said, "Well, it says a lot about him that he came in over the summer to help out." I said, "Oh, absolutely." She said, "That is why we need stuff like this. So to get those kids that fall through the cracks and that don't get seen." I said, "I am 100% with you. This is one of the reasons I love esports, because it gets the kids that don't do sports and that don't have a lot of engagement in anything else." Okay, so sorry, that was a side note. So the other benefits of high school esports on the personal side, they're already playing. There is very little learning curve to coaching a kid in esports. They also can earn bragging rights, or they get humbled very quickly because they all think that they're the best player of whatever game that is in the whole world until they start playing people from all over the country. And it's always funny to listen to them or talk to them after they got just demolished in a game. And they're like, "I don't even know what happened." They can win prizes and scholarships. So my kids that finished second in the country got a very expensive gaming headset as a prize for that. And that they knew they weren't going to get anything like super big, but they were not expecting to get such nice headsets for that. So that was a lot of fun. They also get exposure to the eSports world. This past year at NC Ties, they hosted the inaugural eSports tournament, and my school was lucky enough to go. So I took 3 kids to play Rocket League, and they had the best time. They had never been to a conference before because, of course, they're in high school, and they lost the first game, and it was single elimination, and they didn't even care. They were so excited to be there, and they were so excited to cheer on the other teams and see how other people were playing. They were such great cheerleaders for this one particular team. That team finished first, and they got 6 sets of headsets as a prize. They only had 3 kids on their team, so they gave my 3 kids the other 3 headsets that they got. It was beautiful. Everybody was in tears with that. We also went to the UNCG SEA tournament in Greensboro, so the kids got to play in an actual esports arena, which was a ton of fun. And my kids that went, I took 3. 2 of them placed 9th in the state in Fortnite duos, and those 2 also placed 17th and 18th in the state in Fortnite solos. So that was a ton of fun for them to get to see other kids around the state who played, and just to get to experience all of that. So now you know all about why you should have an esports team. So you want an esports team, now what? So this is where we're going to get into the nitty gritty of all the things you need to do to get into that. And this is where you're going to start forming your game plan for making sure that can get done. Okay, so first of all, you have to choose your league so that you know how much money you're going to have to raise to even get started with it. The High School Esports League, I could talk about it all day because I've been a member of them for 3 years and I have way too much information. I'm like the Tom Holland of this stuff because sometimes I say things I'm not supposed to tell people yet, so I'm going to try really hard not to do that because I do have a little insider information here. But it is $17.50 a year, and that gives you unlimited number of players. Like literally they mean an unlimited number of players and an unlimited number of games. So they say unlimited games. It's all of the games that they allow. So there are usually 8 games that they play each season. And this year they're doing 3 seasons as opposed to 2. So there will be a fall, a winter, and a spring. So that $17.50 covers all of it. So it gets you all of the games that they play each season. It also gives you access to what I call the side quests. Sometimes they have like a weekend tournament that you can join. They have a lot of other stuff that you can do with that as a member. They also have Generation Esports, which is the parent company of that. And that is for anybody to join. So I highly recommend looking into that if you are a gamer or you know adults who are gamers, or if you have students who want to do a little bit more than HSEL. Generation Esports is open to everybody. Now, the $17.50 comes with a gaming concepts course. I put it in quotation marks because it is not DPI approved. It is CTE certified, and but they are working to try to get it DPI certified. So one way that you can use this course and not have to kind of get the local option approval is to use it in advanced PE. So you can use this whole curriculum. And when I tell you it is a full curriculum, I mean it is a full curriculum. They have a whole book with everything that you can do every day, the assessments, the activities, everything. And they have a whole learning management system that I believe it's called Game Plan that you can use to put your students in. That comes with that. Highly recommend that if you go this route because it is a very well done course. Gaming Concepts talks about all of the things that go into gaming. It talks about the social emotional aspects of it. It talks about the health and nutrition. It talks about bullying, cyberbullying, because girls, they hear a lot in these games. So it talks a lot about females in esports, but it really goes into the back end of it as not just a game, but a lifestyle. So highly recommend that. It is very well done. They're also working on other courses. Again, none of them are DPI approved. They are working on that because I told them that you keep trying to sell us these courses, but like they're not a lot of good for it unless we can insert it into another course. But Most of those courses already have a curriculum, so it might get a unit here or there, but not the whole course. So they did hear me, and they are working on that. I do not know how long that takes, though. So I already talked about 8 games, the multiple time slots. So students can start competing as early as 3:55 every day on the days that the game that they play. So the games are Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And I have a well, you can go on the HSEL website and see exactly what the schedule is for that. So I believe the last game is at 8:55 or 9:55 p.m. So it can be late if they decide they do want to do that. However, students that work and still want to do this, that last time slot is what saves them and allows them to be able to compete. There are no weekends. However, it is encouraged for students to meet on their own and practice as a team, because a lot of these teams aren't individual players. A lot of them are 5v5, 4v4, 3v3. I don't know. There might be a 2v2. But like Brawlhalla, Minecraft, chess, and Fortnite are the only ones that are 1v1. All the other ones have to have multiple kids on a team to be able to compete. So this year, there's always been a preseason, regular season, and postseason. This year, they're going to extend them just a little bit, the pre and the post, but they're going to make regular season a little bit shorter. That way, we can get more seasons in, and kids will have more opportunities to be able to do the postseason stuff. Right now, it's just bam, bam, bam. There's not a lot of time, so they are working on that. The UNCG Scholastic Esports Alliance, I did talk a lot about that already. That is the in-state high school esports league. Again, it's brand new. It was free to use. They use League OS. They built it, or they hired a company. They didn't build it. They hired a company to build it. And it was a really good experience. So I'm looking forward to how they're going to grow it into the upcoming years. They do use Discord, which is a huge problem because Discord is blocked in almost every district in North Carolina, and it is a huge pain to try to use it off of Wi-Fi. So if you take Wi-Fi off of your phone, then you can get to Discord, but if you're in a school like mine that has cinder block, you can't get to it. The cellular service doesn't work very well. So Discord pulls a lot of cell service. So if you have to do that, you still might not be able to get anything. I did talk to them about that. I was like, this is insane that, like, did you not know that most districts block Discord? They had no idea. They literally had no idea. So they are looking to either try to find a different app or to work with school districts to allow that Discord server to be unblocked. And apparently it's a thing they can do. I haven't seen it happen yet, so we'll see. So this year they only had Fortnite and Rocket League, but they are looking to expand next year, and I haven't heard yet how that's going to look or what games they're going to have. So this league requires all the athletes to compete on campus except for in extenuating circumstances. So if a student has a really nice gaming computer, if they work, if they don't have any option for transportation, then they can get a waiver to play at home. Otherwise, they have to be at school. The good thing about this is you actually get to kind of coach them, and you get to see them play, and you get to be there when they win or when they lose, and you get to experience that with them. The bad thing is you have to have gaming computers. There's no way around that because they can't play on a Chromebook and they can't play on their phone. So they have to have gaming computers to be able to do this. So that could be a detriment to some programs. NASEF didn't used to be free. I believe it started free this year or last year, and I did not know it did that. I recommend looking at that link and or just Googling NASEF. It is a nonprofit esports league. It's not quite as structured as the other ones. Like, you can play any game through them. They do recommend that they only play E and T games. When they get into mature, it kind of defeats the purpose of their nonprofit mission and vision for that. This is, however, a place for you to go if you want information on esports. So I highly recommend going there. So when you're doing your game plan to be able to present to your school to try to get esports in there, they have so much information there. You really don't have to go anywhere else. Almost everything that you need to get that started is going to be at this website. And I'm really mad I didn't know about that before I got started with this, but it's all there and for you. Play VS is the other national league that's pretty big. It's free to scrimmage, and it's free to learn how to start an esports team. However, it is $3,000 for 1 year for, again, unlimited number of players and all the games that they play. They are official partner of the National Federation of State High School Associations. That's a big deal because states that partner with them have to recognize esports as an official sanctioned sport. So they have to have a budget. They have to be part of the athletics department. That is a really cool thing. I know High School Esports League has worked with Louisiana to get that done also. So it is working on the other end also. But Play VS, because they have partnered with NFHS, if you want to get that legitimacy as a sport, highly recommend going with them to get that because they already have the framework for that done. They pretty much only play League of Legends, Rocket League, and Super Smash Brothers nationally, but they do have regional specific games. So each state can decide which games they want to play during that. In that, I don't know that North Carolina is considering this because we're so district oriented. Other states are not as district oriented as we are, but that is an option if you would like to pay a little bit more, but potentially be able to partner with the NFHS. You also have the option to make your own. I recommend League OS if you're going to do that. It is a very steep learning curve. It is a very, very, very steep learning curve. Even if you are experienced at, finding new stuff and building it, this was pretty intense. And you have to follow the steps through League OS to be able to get it. So you have to know up front what games you're going to play, how many kids you're going to have, what your schedule is going to look like. So there's a lot of research you have to do up front to even get it started. And I started the process, and then I was like, I'm going to have to work with more people on this than just my school. So I wasn't able to finish it. It is free to set up, which is nice. There is a lot of upkeep and updating. Every time you add a kid, you have to refresh the whole thing. Every time there's a change on the teams, you have to refresh. So it's not something that's done automatically. You do have to go in and manually do that. However, it is customizable for your school and or district. So if you want to do a district league, you can use that. I know Charmec does this. They use League OS, and they have a Cumberland County League. It is a good way to get into it for free and to play games that maybe are offered in other leagues. Or if you're just trying to kind of get an extracurricular club started at your school, this would be a good way to do that as well. And if you have kids that love doing this stuff and they're really good at it, let them have at it. All right, this is the hard part, and there's no way around it. There's literally no way around it. You got to get funding, and you have to get approval, and it's it can be hard. It can be really hard. I will say though that if you present it the right way, which is why we're doing this game plan, it can be really easy. The first year I did it, I went to my principal. I said, hey, I want to start an esports team. Here is why it's good for our school, and here's why I think we should do it. And my principal said, how many other schools in our area have it? And I said, how big of a radius do you want me to go? He said, Sand Hills. I said, 1 or 2? He said, done. We can advertise that we are one of the only schools that have it, so kids will want to come here. So if you frame it right and you get your principal in a great mood, it should be pretty easy to do this. So the talking points when you go to admin is the increased engagement, the higher attendance, and the better grades. Again, go to that NASEF website and get all of this information. New from HSEL, they just did a survey. 92% of high school students play video games. 92% of high school students play video games. That still boggles me that many kids play it. I don't play video games. I tell my kids I play Candy Crush. So if they ever have a competition for that, I'm in, right? I lied. I logged into Fortnite last week because I felt like I probably need to learn how to play it. So I do have that. So esports will reach the kids that don't do anything else. They literally don't do anything else, but almost every single kid at your school plays video games. It is a recruiting tool. Not all high schools have them, so it is a good way to get kids. If you have a district where you have a school of choice, or you have magnet schools or something like that, and you're the only one that has an esports league, it'll be a really good way to recruit kids to come there. You do need money. You will absolutely need money. Ask upfront for money. Don't wait until you get the team done. Don't wait until it's been approved. Ask upfront. You need to cover the league costs. You need to cover jerseys so you're not the only team at a competition with no jerseys, and it's embarrassing as heck. I've heard. And you need the equipment, and you need a stipend. You absolutely need to be paid for the work that you do, because if you join that one and they do after school again, it doesn't even start until 5. So the Rocket League is usually over pretty quick, 5:30, 5:45. But Fortnite starts at 5, and they last about 45 minutes, and then they play 2 games. So the next one starts at 6. You're not out of there until almost 7 o'clock on those days. And I get out of school at 4, so that's an extra 3 hours that I'm there for that. I do not do practice after school because my district pays me a very small stipend, and it is not enough money for me to stay after school every day and let these kids practice on the computers. I just can't do it. I have to have boundaries for that. So make sure that you will get your league costs covered, enough money for jerseys, enough money for equipment, and enough money for a stipend. And I will have information a little bit later with what some districts have done. One district, I think Charlotte Mech, put in, I don't remember off the top of my head, $100,000 into their eSports program. I don't know what they're paying their teachers, but I know another program just put in $350,000 into their program, and they are paying their eSports coaches $678 a month in season. And that's 10 months of the year that kids are in season for eSports. So that they're doing it right. They're doing it right. They make sure everybody has computers, they make sure they have jerseys, and they make sure the coaches are well paid for. So make sure that you address this up front. I feel like I'm harping on that, but also I'm living not getting paid for the first 2 years in one district and getting a very, very small stipend in the second district, which I'm grateful for, but it did not nearly cover what I put into it. Then you have to get buy-in from your district because we'll get into that in a second. So before you go to your district, you need to know your league costs, your upkeep costs, which there shouldn't be except for the jerseys, and travel. If you make it to a competition, somebody's going to have to pay a bus driver. They're going to have to pay for the bus. They're going to have to pay for the hotel rooms to stay there. They're going to have to pay the per diem. You're going to have to know all of that stuff up front so that you can get approval for it. There are lots of fundraising options. HSEL partners with a company to do fundraising for you to help with that. There is a lot of CTE and STEM integration, and we're going to talk about the class options that are available. With that is the career and community college pathway. So we will talk about that as well. The opportunities for students in terms of careers, we're going to go over that. Scholarship opportunities, we already talked about that. And then recruiting opportunities in terms of getting kids to want to be in your district and want to be in your schools. That is a huge thing. Okay, so getting the equipment is probably the hardest thing. It's easy for a principal to say, sure, go ahead. It's not so easy when you say, okay, I'm going to need like $8,000 to $10,000 for gaming computers because they're expensive. So highly recommend grants. Again, there's a high school esports league. There are funding opportunities that they have. Donors Choose is a way to do it. The problem with Donors Choose is they tell you to keep it, $500, $800, and a good gaming computer is going to start you at $1,500. So if you have a lot of people working together, you can make that work. And I highly recommend at least trying it to see what you can do. If nothing else, you can get a gaming chair through Donors Choose. I'll also recommend begging. Again, I'm the squeaky wheel. So I am all about asking for stuff. I will say that gaming desktops do run better overall and last longer than most of the desktop schools buy. They're also 2 to 3 times more expensive than them. However, if you look at the cost benefit of that, it ends up pretty much a wash for that. I am lucky. Cumberland County is switching all of their labs to gaming desktops because of the better run overall, and they last longer. They're also better able to run programs that the computer labs already use. Also, with our Spark Lab integration that we're doing across the district, they're going to have to get computers that can run these heavy-duty 3D modeling programs. So gaming desktops, I really believe that is the future of school computers. It's going to be gaming desktops because of that. Once you get everything, the league should provide you a white list of links that will need to be unblocked. And I cannot stress that you have to start early with this, because I can't tell you how many teams that we were supposed to play and they said it just got blocked, or I've been asking for weeks to get this unblocked. My kids can't play Rocket League. So make sure you are working with your IT department so that you can get these games unblocked. You have to be made admin of all the computers students use to game on. So if you get gaming desktops, you have to be made admin of all those, because you have to be able to troubleshoot. You have to be able to allow the downloads. Every time a kid logs in to the computer and they haven't downloaded Fortnite to their Epic Games account, you have to approve that, and you have to approve the anti-cheat software that comes with it also. So you have to be made admin to be able to do that. Make sure you test it in advance, like weeks before, the week before, the day of, to make sure everything works. It is much easier for IT, from IT's perspective, for you to start with everyone in team games. In games, we're not allowed to play M games. So Fortnite, we got it squeaked through only because UNCG was requiring it. So if they hadn't required it, we probably would not have done it. And my district told me to join the UNCG league, so you can't tell me to join it and then block the games that they play. Rocket League and Smash Brothers are the easiest ones to get approved, because they are everyone. They are not violent at all. And they are two of the most played eSports league games. SIPA is the reason Discord is blocked. Also Uvalde. So hopefully your district will be able to unblock certain channels. My IT director said that was a possibility, so I'm still waiting on that to happen. But because Discord is the number one gaming communication tool, it's going to be very frustrating to have an esports team and not have access to Discord for that. So hopefully our IT departments will work with us. So recruiting is super easy. Getting the kids is super easy. I found out the week school started that I was going to be coaching the esports team. Let me take that back. Starting an esports team and coaching it. When I interviewed for the job, one of the reasons that the principal wanted me was because I'd already been an esports coach, and he really wanted that at that school. It's a lot of work. It is a lot of work to start a program from scratch, to maintain it, and to be an esports coach, especially when so many kids sign up for it. So he left right before school started. I was like, cool, I don't have to do it. And then one of my APs said, hey, I heard you were an esports coach. Would you like to do it again? I'm like, oh, yes, fine. So I did it. I love that I did it. I love the kids. I love the relationships that you build with the kids. And it's completely different as a librarian. So it's a lot of fun. But at the very beginning of school, we have club day. So every coach and then some of the kids that are on the club can go into the gym, set up a table, set up a station, and sign kids up. I literally had 150 students out of my 1,000 student schools sign up to be on the esports team. It started with just a few, and then it spread really quick. And then the days after that, I had so many kids come to the library. I know the teachers are like, why does everybody want to go to the library all of a sudden? Because it was my first year there. Nobody knew who I was, but everybody wanted to come to the library because of esports and because of word of mouth. So it won't take long for the word to spread. We did announcements over the intercom. Kids mostly don't listen to those. I sent out emails that they don't read. So the word of mouth is by far the best way to advertise. You do have to set up the team. So we use Canvas. It's the only thing I was allowed to use. I would have liked to have used something else, but our district said no, all communication has to go through Canvas. So that was kind of clunky because kids get so inundated with Canvas notifications that mine got lost. So it was difficult to let them know. That's why I started sending out emails and told them, if you send an email from me, you have to read it. Band app is what I recommend instead of Discord, only because Band app isn't banned yet. So if you can use that, highly recommend it. Almost all of our athletics teams use it. If you can do a Discord on the side, I recommend it because kids are on Discord all day long. When you're setting up the team, you have got to set up a parent letter. I didn't do that my first year. Parents are like, yeah, right. You're on a gaming team at school. Sure you are. Get off the computer. And they're like, no, I'm in a competition right now. get a parent letter, have a parent meeting if you want to, but definitely get a parent letter out so that they know that, yes, we do have a video game team at school. Yes, your child is on it. Yes, they have to practice. Yes, they have scheduled competitions during the week. Please let them play. Please don't ban them from their consoles and their laptops or their desktops so that they can play, because they're on a team. It's a team sport, and if they don't show up, the whole team has to forfeit. I would recommend, I'm going to do this year, adding a commitment permission form. Get parents to sign it, get students to sign it, saying that they are committing to esports, that they are going to play, that they are going to see it through, because we had so many kids sign up and then they didn't adhere to deadlines, so I wasn't able to let them play. They didn't put themselves on a team, so they didn't have anything to join. I couldn't sign them up to be able to play. Definitely get that done, and you may want to wait till after your first year so that you can kind of see what I'm talking about, but I will share that information once I have that drawn up for that. So do you charge a fee or not? That's going to be up to you. So my district right now is paying for esports, so I have not worried about it. However, in my last district, the district did not pay for it after the first year, so we did charge students $25 a year to do it. The hope was that enough kids would join that it would pay for the next year's, but we did not plan that well, because we only had like 17 kids join, and that's not enough money to pay for the $17.50 fee for the next year. But if you charge a fee, you need to figure out how much you're going to need to charge to make it self-sustaining, and is that going to pay for jerseys? Because esports jerseys start at around $70 each. So I recommend having them, but they are very expensive and they take a long time to get in. So plan that early, have the kids pay for them. High School Esports League has a program where you can do all that stuff through them. So if you're interested in looking at that, you can go through them. But there are lots of esports jersey companies. Mostly they look like soccer jerseys. So if you have access to that, you can do that as well. So is it a team or is it a club? It's up to you and your district and your students also. I call it a team because that's what it's called at the professional level and mostly at the college level as well, except for the clubs. But a team gives it more legitimacy. It hopefully would convince kids to buy in, because it's not just a club. It's an actual team where your teammates are counting on you. You have specified times that you have to play. It is not for funsies, right? This is for legit competition. Many states have it as a sanctioned sport already, and again with that partnership with the NFHS, and HSEL has Louisiana as a state sport. Has it as a state sport in Louisiana. So it is definitely a thing. You are a coach, right? You are not just a manager. You are not the paper pusher. You are not the organizer. You are the coach. Do I actually coach the kids? No. Do I do everything else? Yes. At the UNCG tournament, they had all the kids come in and say, okay, so once this tournament starts, your coach is not allowed to coach you up, right? They're not allowed to give you any kind of coaching at all. You are on your own. And I looked at my kids and I said, guys, I promise not to coach you in Fortnite. And everybody started laughing because at the time I had never even logged into Fortnite. But I was the person there that did the troubleshooting, did the paperwork, did the organizing, helped them with time management. So you are a coach. The students are athletes, and they need to be called that. They are playing. They are putting in the time and effort. They are competing. They need to be athletes. But, also it's treated as a sport at the collegiate level. So I think we need to keep it consistent so that we can move the sport forward successfully and consistently and just in a good way, hopefully with funding. So the eSports curriculum, this is where you can get the buy-in at the district level. There are already 2 CTE pathways that have to deal with eSports a little bit. The digital design and animation 1 and 2 and game art design 1 and 2. So these already feed into the community college system. So if you take these classes as dual enrollment courses, then you can continue on at the community college level for that, and the kids will get their certification. This is also a way that you could possibly incorporate that gaming concept course if you do it through HSEL. Now, you can do local options. You do have the ability to, your district can add a local course. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know if you get credit for that or not, or if the students get credit for that. I would assume so, but I think they have limited credits that they can give for local courses. So HSEL has gaming concepts. They have 4 or 5 other courses that they have either just finished or getting ready to finish and put out. NASEF also has courses. They do have options to integrate eSports into almost every course you can think of. So they have ELA, CTE, Health and Wellness already done, but they are working on adding more to that. They also offer middle school curriculum options, which is trickling down, right? So we've gotten from professional college to high school. Now we're trickling down into middle school, and in the future, it will go down to elementary school as well. Like those will all be e-games. Middle school is only e-games as well, because of that age 13 requirement. Now, there are careers in esports beyond just gaming, and there's a bunch of them. So this graphic is from NASEF. I love the way they do that because it has, it's color-coded. It's pretty. So you can see the players in the middle and everything else beyond that. And I'm going to go into that just a little bit more. So these are some of the specific career options that are in esports beyond just literally playing the video game. So I'm not going to go into specifics on all of these, but I wanted you to see. But I wanted you to see in a little bit more detail what some of the options were. And I did put in the Esports Health and Performance Institute because I didn't know this thing existed. You can literally get certified to be an esports health and performance coach. And they have all these options in that. Every single professional esports team has one of these certified coaches as a member of them. So those kids that love anatomy, that love nutrition, fitness, all of that stuff, there is most definitely a career option for them in esports. We also have all this other stuff. The content creators, I think, is the most fascinating one because there's so many different options for it. So there's kids that love to create fan art, that love to just create content at all. The shoutcasters, the people who are up there going, oh man, did you see what that card just did in Rocket League? Obviously, I've never played it. I don't know what the terminology is. But the people who are explaining what's going on, the play-by-play announcers, if you will, for esports, it's crazy. There's so many options for that, especially the graphic designer and when we get into the digital game and design, that's where your kids are going for that. So now it's your turn to create a game plan. So we'll get started just a little bit on it, but this is mostly going to be on your own. And I will be here to help you if you have any questions. So the big things we need to figure out, who do you need to convince? So write down who at the school level and who at the district level you need to talk to be able to get esports at your school. How much money do you need? So you need to figure out which league you're going to join so you know how much it costs. You're going to need to figure out, do you want the school to cover gear? Do you want students to cover gear? How much is it going to be for the jerseys? How much is it going to be for the equipment? Which gaming desktops do you want to buy? Our district bought Lenovo Legion T5s, which I don't know if they came with all this or not, but we have the widescreen monitors, we have the gaming keyboard, the gaming mouse, and the gaming headset. So it's the whole Lenovo Legion T5 system. But you need to figure out how much it's going to cost so that you'll know up front what it's going to cost to get into this. And then who's going to help you? Are you going to have an assistant coach? It's probably not going to be paid unless you're in that district that pays their coaches a whole lot. And who are going to be your team captains? I will say if you're starting from scratch, you're probably going to be surprised by who signs up to be on this team. So you may want to wait on that until you find out who your kids are. But you definitely need team captains. You need at least 2 overall team captains that will help you with the organization and management. And you need 1 team captain for each game that you play. That way they can help you with rosters. They can help kids actually play. If they have questions about, hey, how do I do this trick in Rocket League? You need somebody who's going to be able to help them with that, to do the actual coaching if you don't know how to do it. So knowing how many you're going to have is going to be very helpful for that. So I am here if you need me. I will help you however I can. I have a ton of information, even beyond this, that I can send out. I am going to start a mailing list, which I'm hopefully not going to use that often. But when I see grants that are specific to esports or to technology that will help you get an esports team, I will definitely send that out. Again, I have insider information for HSEL, so I can send information about that out. I do know that they just signed a contract with Nintendo, so they're going to have Smash Brothers at middle and high school level, so that's exciting. But if you would like to sign up for that, there's a link there that goes to a Google form, so you can fill that out. And my email is at the beginning. It's Kristy Sartain at ncslma.org. I'm happy to help you with anything. I do talk a lot. I don't know if you could tell or not, but I can parse it down. And I have met with a couple of counties to go over all of this stuff. And it's a lot of information, but I do have some of it truncated a little bit and something that's a little bit more easily digestible. All right, if you have any questions, please let me know, and I hope you're ready with your game plan.